Why does a man pull back at the exact time when he feels the most? Why does he shut down emotionally when a bond grows deeper? And why does this happen most often with the women he truly loves? Carl Jung spent years studying the male mind and found something unsettling. Men do not run from difficult women. They do not escape drama. They do not fear complexity. They withdraw from one single quality in a woman, and this quality is often what you believe is your greatest strength. Most women do not realize what truly takes place inside a man when he creates emotional distance. They assume he is not ready. They assume he fears commitment. They assume he lacks emotional maturity. But Jung understood the deeper psychological truth. A man who loves you deeply pulls away not because he is heartless or unable to love. He pulls away because you awaken something he has hidden his entire life. You trigger a mental response that Jung described as the most dangerous moment in a man's inner world. Nearly every relationship tactic you have learned only makes things worse. Advice like, give him space, misses the point. Strategies like, be mysterious, miss the point. Tips such as, let him chase you completely, miss the point, because no one has explained the reality of deep psychology. No one has told you what truly happens in his subconscious when he meets a woman like you. No one has explained why men avoid the very women who touch them at the deepest level. No one has shown you why your emotional honesty makes him uneasy. And no one has told you that what you believe is a weakness is actually your greatest psychological power. Jung discovered that there is a certain trait in some women that men unconsciously fear. Not because it is harmful, but because it is so strong that it forces a man to face himself. And most men are not prepared for that confrontation. In the next moments, you will understand what happens in a man's mind when he meets a woman who carries this trait. You will learn why he withdraws even when he loves you, perhaps exactly because he loves you. You will understand the Jungian view that explains why emotional depth creates distance in men, and you will learn a psychological approach that changes everything, not to control him or to manipulate him, but to finally understand what is happening in his mind when he shuts down emotionally. But I must warn you, this understanding will hurt, because you will see that he is not running from you. He is running from the man he would need to become by your side. He is fleeing from his own emotional depth that you awaken in him. And the paradox is this: the more genuine you are, the more you express your true self, the more you force him to face his own incompleteness. Jung called this the mirror of the unconscious. You reflect back to him everything he has failed to fix within himself, and that is why he keeps his distance. Not because you are too much, not because you are overwhelming, or because you are too emotional, but because you are whole. And his lack of wholeness becomes unbearable in your presence. If you are ready to understand why men distance themselves from the women they love the most, let us explore what Carl Jung revealed about the male psyche and what few people ever explain about the deep psychology of men. Before we continue, I want you to do something meaningful. If what I have described feels right to you, if you recognize yourself as the woman who makes men face their wholeness, then write one word in the comments right now: reflection. Why does this matter? Jung believed that change occurs not only through insight, but through conscious action. By writing this word, you start a process within your own mind. You tell your subconscious that you are ready to face the truth and understand what is really happening. This simple act of writing reflection is the first step toward using this awareness. It is as if you are making an agreement with your own inner mind. Jung called this conscious participation in the process of becoming oneself. Most women take in information without acting. They watch, they listen, they think it is interesting, and then nothing changes in their lives. But the women who truly transform, who shift their relationship patterns, are the ones who take active steps and choose to participate. They show the world they are not here only to listen, but here to change. When you write reflection in the comments, 3 things happen psychologically. First, you confirm to yourself that this understanding is real. You honor your own experience. Second, you tell your unconscious that you are ready to accept your inner power and stop believing that you are too intense. Third, you connect with many other women who are experiencing the same pattern, who know what it feels like to be wanted and avoided at the same time. Look at the comments and notice how many women have written reflection. These are women who understand. These are women who are no longer trapped in relationship cycles, but are becoming aware creators of their reality. And here is the most powerful part. When you write reflection, you train your mind to notice the signs in your own love life. You begin to see when you awaken his inner conflict. You recognize when he is escaping from his own depth. This awareness is what separates women who repeat painful patterns from women who break cycles and form deep, honest connections with men who are ready to grow. This realization can feel heavy at first because it removes the idea that you did something wrong. It shows you that your presence alone creates change. When a man senses that change, he feels exposed. He feels seen in ways he has avoided. Your calm confidence, your emotional clarity, and your ability to remain steady force him to notice the parts of himself he has ignored. He may not have words for this discomfort, but his body reacts before his mind understands. Distance becomes his shield. Silence becomes his defense, not because you harmed him, but because you revealed him to himself. This is why chasing, explaining, or making yourself smaller never brings him closer. Those actions only confuse you and drain your strength. Understanding this truth returns your power to you. You stop taking his withdrawal personally and start seeing it for what it is. It is a response to growth, a response to depth, and a response to love that demands maturity. Once you see this clearly, you no longer beg for connection. You choose alignment. You choose men who can stand in the light you naturally carry without needing to run from it. This awareness lets peace replace confusion and self-trust replace doubt. Do this now, before we move forward, because what I will share next only works for women who have already taken this first conscious step. Women who only watch and listen may hear the technique, but it will not stay in their subconscious. But for the women who wrote reflection, everything that follows will carry deep psychological meaning. Are you ready? Good. If you wrote reflection, then you are prepared for what comes next. First, let me explain something about the male psyche that most women do not know and that most men do not fully understand. Carl Jung discovered that every man carries a feminine element within him. He called it the anima. This is not just a symbol. It is a real psychological structure present in every man. The anima holds everything a man experiences as feminine within himself and therefore pushes out of his conscious identity. This includes his emotions, his sensitivity, his desire for deep connection, and his ability to feel instead of only analyze. From the moment a boy hears phrases like "boys do not cry" or "be strong," he slowly disconnects from parts of who he truly is. Those parts do not vanish. They sink into the unconscious. They become his anima. This repressed inner world is projected onto women, especially the women he loves, but not in the same way with every woman. Most women only touch his anima lightly. They play roles and show a socially approved version of femininity. His outer mask connects with their outer mask, and everything stays on the surface. These relationships feel safe to him and easy to control. But then he meets you and something is different. You are not acting. You are not performing. You move through life with emotional honesty. You are integrated and moving toward wholeness. Jung would say you are further along the path of finding yourself. You do not hide behind a mask. You do not pretend. You live from the inside outward. and that is where the tension begins. When a man meets a woman who is whole within herself, something powerful happens inside him. His anima does not just stir, it fully awakens through you. He suddenly sees everything he denied in himself. He sees the feelings he never allowed and the softness he buried. He sees the hunger for depth he learned to label as weakness. You become a living mirror of the parts of his soul he never dared to face. In that moment, fear rises. Many women misunderstand this fear. They think he fears commitment, or that he is emotionally unavailable, or simply afraid of intimacy. But the truth is much deeper. He is not running from you. He is running from himself, and from the inner world, your presence brings into the light. Jung described this meeting with the anima as one of the most frightening yet life-changing moments in a man's life. It is frightening because it threatens the identity he spent years building. He realizes he is not only control, logic, and strength. He is also emotion, vulnerability, and longing. For a man who learned that strength means emotional suppression, this realization feels like the ground is breaking beneath him, so he retreats, not because his love is weak, but because it is overwhelming. The deeper his feelings for you, the more strongly his inner feminine side awakens. The more it awakens, the clearer his inner emptiness becomes, and the stronger his fear grows. Distance becomes his escape. This is the psychological pattern most women never see, and most advice completely misunderstands. You are told to give him space, but in his inner world, this confirms his fear and teaches him that avoidance keeps him safe. You are told to be mysterious, but mystery only works on shallow levels. A man whose inner depth you have awakened cannot chase. He is already drowning in feelings he does not understand. You are told to act calm and detached, but your realness is what touched him in the first place. If you suddenly become emotionally distant, you lose the very essence that reached him. A Jungian expert would say this is the moment you step away from your true self and return to a mask. When you do that, you become like everyone else in his life, safe but empty of meaning. So the real question is not what you did wrong. The real question is how to navigate a situation where your greatest strength, your emotional wholeness, is also what pushes him away. To understand this, you must know that there are 3 types of men, and each reacts differently to a woman like you. The first type is fully trapped in his persona. His inner depth is buried so deeply that he does not even know it exists. When it is activated, he runs and never looks back. He is not ready for growth. The second type is aware on some level that his inner world exists, but he is afraid of it. He pulls away but returns in cycles. He wants closeness but cannot hold it. He loves you but fears what you awaken in him. This man stands at the edge of change and needs something very specific. The third type is a man who has already begun the process of becoming whole. He knows his emotional world and has accepted it. This man does not flee. He moves toward you because of your depth, not in spite of it. The real question becomes, which type of man are you facing? And more importantly, what do you do when you are dealing with the second type? This is the man who loves you yet runs, who comes close and then shuts down. This is where Jung's perspective becomes truly powerful, because the answer is neither to give up on him nor to chase after him. It is the understanding that you cannot become his therapist, but you can become his mirror. There is a specific way this happens that changes everything. Before reaching that point, you need clear signs that tell you that you activated his inner self and he is running from himself, not from you. Jung described certain behaviors that appear in a man when his inner feminine side is awakened. When you recognize these signs, you can be certain that you are not the problem. You are the catalyst for something he must face. The first sign is a cycle of idealization followed by withdrawal. A man whose inner self has been activated will place you on a pedestal and pull away at the same time. He may say things like, "You are different from anyone I have known," or "I have never felt this way before." And then suddenly he becomes distant. He feels colder and harder to reach. Most women panic and ask what they did wrong, but nothing is wrong. What actually happened is that his projection became too intense. Jung explained that when a man idealizes a woman, he is projecting all the repressed parts of his inner world onto her. He no longer sees her simply as a woman. He sees her as a symbol of wholeness. Unconsciously, this creates pain because if she represents completeness, then his own lack of it becomes visible. Pulling away is his way of lowering that intensity. It is a psychological defense. If he pulls away but then returns again and again, this is a man who unconsciously wants to grow. He simply does not know how. The second sign is emotional overload. He may say, "You awaken so much inside me," or "I do not understand what you do to me." Women often hear this as romance or danger, but what he is really saying is that you activate his shadow. In Jung's view, the shadow is everything we pushed away because we believed it was unacceptable. For many men, this includes emotion and vulnerability. When he says he feels out of control, he is saying his defenses are falling down. This only happens when a woman is so real and grounded that she touches his core. The problem is that many women respond by giving more emotion or more comfort to try to calm him. This makes things worse. It confirms his fear that he is weak. A man who believes he has lost control will instinctively try to regain it through distance. When he tells you he is overwhelmed, acknowledge it, but do not chase him. Each person must walk their own path. You can watch it, but you cannot rescue him from it. The third sign is a repeated pattern of closeness followed by retreat. He moves closer, and true intimacy forms. He shares parts of himself he usually keeps hidden. And then at the peak of closeness, he pulls back. He does not disappear, but he becomes shallow. His messages grow shorter and his energy feels flat. He is present in body but absent in depth. He hides behind a socially acceptable version of himself because the real self you touched feels too dangerous. He is unconsciously testing whether you will accept only his surface self or whether you can hold space for his wholeness. Many women fail this test by trying to pull him back into depth. They ask what is wrong or why he changed. This tells him that his emotional presence is required for your stability, and that feels like too much responsibility. The Jungian response is different. You notice his retreat and you respect it, but you do not abandon your own depth. You do not make yourself small to match his surface level. You stay emotionally authentic without demanding that he meet you there. This is the difference between being needy and being a mirror. Neediness says, "Come back because I need you." Being a mirror says, "I remain in my depth, and when you are ready, you know where to find me." This is where real change happens. A man whose inner depth has been awakened cannot stay shallow for long. He may try to convince himself he does not need it, but his inner world longs for connection. He returns because his own mind draws him back. Each time he returns, he goes a little deeper and becomes slightly more whole, but this only works if you do not lose yourself. If you hide your truth to keep him, you lose the quality that supported his growth. How long do you wait? Jung was very clear that this process cannot be forced. You can hold the mirror and show him what is possible, but you cannot walk the path for him. Some men would rather stay broken than face the fear of being whole. These men will move in endless cycles and never truly stay. To tell the difference, look for movement, not stagnation. A man in real transformation moves. He may be slow, but each time he returns, he is slightly more open. He begins to name his feelings instead of running. A man who is stuck returns to the exact same place every time with the same excuses. You are not his therapist. Your only job is to remain real and see if he is doing his own work. If nothing shifts after a long time, that is not growth, it is resistance. The second sign is self-reflection instead of blaming. A man who is ready for growth takes responsibility. He admits that he pulls away when things get intense. A man who is not ready blames you and says you are too intense or you expect too much. One owns his inner world while the other makes it your fault. The third sign is that he seeks his own answers. He takes responsibility for his inner life and does not expect you to fix him. A man who is not ready wants you to do the emotional work he avoids. Real transformation cannot be handed over to someone else. Be honest with yourself because your wholeness is not negotiable. You are not here to sacrifice your soul so a man can avoid his. You are not here to wait forever for someone trapped in fear. Jung said the greatest tragedy is when people give up their wholeness for a fake connection. This is what many deep women do. They give up their depth to make a man stay. But in the end, he respects her less because he senses she gave up her strength for him. The more you try to keep him by making yourself smaller, the less he is drawn to you. Stay whole and let him choose. This means saying, I am here in my full truth. If you are ready to meet me, I am open. But I will not reduce myself to meet you in avoidance. Men who are ready for growth are drawn to this clarity. Men who are not are pushed away. You are looking for a man who is ready to walk the path. This union happens naturally when both people take their inner work seriously. Live your life and stay connected to your own depth. If he is the right man, his own inner world will draw him back to you, and if he does not return, he has freed you to meet the man who is ready. There are men who respect emotional depth and take growth seriously. These men are searching for a woman who does not run from her own depth, a woman who understands that real love never asks her to become smaller. The moment you stop trying to fix his silence is the moment you reclaim your soul. When a man pulls back, your instinct is to bridge the gap. You send the extra text, you ask the deep question, or you try to explain his own feelings to him. But in Jungian terms, this is a form of spiritual theft. You are trying to do the work of his anima for him. By stepping into his inner world to organize his chaos, you prevent him from ever having to face it himself. You become a crutch rather than a partner. A man's withdrawal is often a test of your own stability. He is unconsciously asking, if I lose my way, will you lose yours too? If you fall into anxiety, you prove to him that his depth is indeed dangerous and that it has the power to destroy the peace of those he loves. But if you remain grounded, if you continue to pursue your own passions, your own friendships, and your own growth while he is in his cave, you show him something revolutionary. You show him that depth does not have to be a source of destruction. You show him that a person can be both deeply emotional and incredibly strong. This is the power of the high-value woman that many talk about, but few understand from a psychological level. It isn't about playing hard to get, it is about being hard to lose. And you become hard to lose when you are the only person in his life who doesn't fear his shadow. Most people in his life only want his mask, the provider, the protector, the success. You are the only one who has seen the boy behind the mask and didn't look away. That is a terrifyingly beautiful gift. However, you must be prepared for the final stage of this process. As you move further along your own path of becoming whole, you will find that your tolerance for half-love disappears. You will no longer find the cycle of push and pull romantic. You will see it as a lack of development. You will reach a point where you realize that while you can be the mirror, you cannot be the light that forces him to see. If you are standing in your truth and he still chooses to hide in the dark, the greatest act of love, for both him and yourself, is to walk away. Not as a punishment, but as a final reflection of reality. Sometimes a man needs to lose the mirror to realize how much he missed the light it provided. By leaving, you give him the ultimate opportunity to face his incompleteness alone, and if he finally decides to grow, he will do it for himself, which is the only way it ever truly lasts. This brings us to a truth that many find hard to accept. Your journey toward being a whole person is the only thing that will truly change your love life. You cannot change a man by focusing all your energy on him. You change your experience by focusing on your own growth. Jung believed that the most powerful influence on a child is the unlived life of the parent. In the same way, the most powerful influence in a relationship is the unlived potential of the woman. When you stop waiting for him to catch up and start moving forward yourself, the dynamic must shift. Most women are terrified that if they stop focusing on the man, the connection will die. But look at the reality. If the only thing holding the relationship together is your constant effort, then there is no real connection to begin with. You are simply holding onto a ghost. True connection is like a bridge. It requires two pillars standing firmly on their own ground. If you lean too far toward him to try to close the gap, you lose your balance and the bridge collapses. By standing tall in your own life, you create the space necessary for him to decide if he is brave enough to walk across. You must ask yourself a hard question. Why are you drawn to a man who runs? Often, the woman who attracts a man who fears his inner self is also avoiding a part of her own shadow. Perhaps you use his emotional distance as a way to avoid your own fear of being truly seen. By focusing on his problems and his silence, you don't have to look at your own areas of growth. This is what Jung called a mutual projection. You are both playing a game of hide and seek with your souls. To break this cycle, you must be willing to be happy and fulfilled even if he stays exactly as he is. This is where your true power lies. It is the power to be okay with or without him. When a man senses that you are not dependent on his emotional state for your own happiness, he feels a strange mix of relief and attraction. The relief comes because he no longer feels responsible for your inner peace. The attraction comes because you have become a mystery that he cannot solve with simple distance. You have become a person who is complete within themselves. This is the ultimate goal of the Jungian path. It is not about finding someone to complete you, but about becoming complete so you can truly share your life with another. As you move into this new way of being, you will notice that your taste in men begins to change. You will find that you are no longer interested in the project or the man who needs to be saved. You will start to be drawn to men who have done their own work. Men who can look you in the eye and handle your depth because they are not afraid of their own. This is the reward for the work you are doing now. You are moving from a place of hunger to a place of plenty. You are no longer a beggar for love, but a creator of it.